Okay, so we are officially live on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Hey, everybody.
Hey, how
Yes,
y'all doing?
yes. Welcome to the 21 Minutes or Less podcast. I'm one of your co hosts, Keysha Milana.
And I am your other co-host, Nick Lavon.
Yes, and we're so excited. We haven't been live in a minute. Nikia, how you feeling about it? I'm really excited, actually.
Yeah, I am excited as well. I'm just happy to get back to us getting into the swing of things and be able to be of service to the community.
Yes, and today our live is all about mental health awareness. As y'all know, it's May, it's Mental Health Awareness Month, and this is our jam. We talk about self care, holistic wellness, but mental health is really foundational and one of the things that we have stressed throughout the history of our podcast. So, we so
Yeah,
excited to be coming to y'all with tips, resources, information, and just value all around.
absolutely. And speaking of which, we have decided to change our tagline. Our tagline is no longer 21 minutes or less promotes self care for entrepreneurs. We are now focused on holistic wellness. 21 minutes or less will focus on holistic wellness for entrepreneurs. And as a result, we will have the 8 dimensions of wellness. We will be speaking about those things, and we do have initiatives that we will be implementing in the future. Okay.
Yes. So if y'all haven't already heard any of our episodes, definitely go check out our podcast, 21 Minutes or Less. It's currently on Spotify. There's a link in our Instagram bio. So check us out. We have so many different episodes, over 80. You're guaranteed to find something you'll really enjoy. And we are also doing a giveaway today. We're doing a giveaway for not just some physical items, but also some things that can help your mental health. So we're doing a giveaway for passion planners, and we are also doing a giveaway for some vent sessions. So you definitely don't want to miss the end of the live. That's when we'll be giving it away to people that have joined the live.
Yes. And there is also going to be a giveaway for a photo shoot. If you live in Atlanta and you are available on the 25th at 4 o'clock, um, let me know in the messages below if you would like to do that photo shoot. It's already paid for. All you have to do is show up. But this is only for people who either join the live or share our live out to other people. We will choose somebody based off that. But you have to live in Atlanta. And you have to
Mhm.
be available on May 25th at 4 o'clock in order to receive that free photo shoot. Okay.
Yes, and a photo shoot is a great way to enjoy your self care, especially as an entrepreneur. If you need some professional photos, this is a good time for you to, help your business and help your self care without hurting your pockets. Okay.
Okay. And if no one is eligible for it, I would just choose somebody. I have a few people in mind. If they agree to it, if no one does our comment or share, I have 2 people in mind actually that could potentially win that photo shoot just based on how we interacted with them previously when it came to our podcast. Okay.
Yes, that's so exciting. And again, we are giving away the photo shoot, some passion planners, as well as vent sessions. So we're giving away up to 21 vent sessions, which means you can, talk, get some emotional support, be able to talk about things going on in your personal life, your business, your professional life at work, whatever it may be, and you can vent to us for up to 21 minutes. And sometimes it's good to have those venting sessions where it's with an unbiased person. We're going to talk about that soon and why even therapy is so valuable. But, venting to your friends is a lot different than venting to someone who has no personal knowledge of you. So stay tuned throughout the live. We're going to be doing some giveaways for event sessions.
Yes. All right, Keisha, do you want to go ahead and jump into our first topic?
Yes. So as y'all know, I am a mental health fanatic. I'm currently getting my doctoral degree in school psychology. I have a master's degree in clinical and counseling psychology, and I'm also a certified life and health coach. So, when it comes to mental health, this is something I could talk about for hours and hours and hours, but we're not going to take up y'all whole Sunday. And Instagram got an hour time limit, but we do just kind of want to touch on some of the most important aspects that we feel are important and valuable. So first, we're just gonna start with some common mental health challenges for entrepreneurs specifically, and this is something that it's really important to know about, because if you're not understanding what the challenges are, it's gonna be hard to spot them to know when you may need some help and when you may need some support. So, one thing I really want to stress is that entrepreneurs often have a high stress level. And it's so important to kind of gauge your stress levels and where you are and do check ins with yourself, because if you don't, that's what leads to burnout. So, it's so important too, because especially in the Black community, stress is a silent killer. It can lead to high blood pressure, it can lead to heart issues, and it can really impact your physical health. So it's important to kind of gauge how stressed you are and thinking about that. And the way I do it is pretty much just doing like a almost kind of like a 1 through 5. Like, what am I feeling today? Am I a 3 and I'm kind of blah? Am I a 1 and I'm not doing so well? Or am I a 5 and I'm doing great and I'm self-caring? I'm thinking about my mental health. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna support myself, support my business, and keep, pushing through. So, the first thing is just high stress levels. And so, when you're thinking about these stress levels and where the stress come from, you want to think about what are the common stressors for me in my daily life. And it's going to be different for every single person, but some of the main things I want to hit on are those those roles that you have to balance outside of just being an entrepreneur, right? So for many of us, we are entrepreneurs, but then we also have a 9 to 5. So work could be a common stressor. We also have maybe sometimes kids or family members that we're taking care of, and it could be children, but it could also be parents that we have to take care of. So it could be motherhood or just being a caretaker in general. And then some of us might be in school while being an entrepreneur. So education and balancing schoolwork and school stress can also be a big thing. And another one that's really, really big is illnesses or chronic health issues or mental health issues. Some of us are battling anxiety, depression, even more serious mental health issues. It could be something as far as OCD, schizophrenia. It's so much that people go through, and a lot of times we may not understand how that's causing us so much stress. But it's hard to focus on your business when you have all these outside things kind of dictating how you feeling throughout the day, throughout the week, and putting more pressure on you, because sometimes you got to choose, like, am I going to make this graphic so I can promote my business, or am I going to finish my assignment that's due at 11:59, or am I going to get my crying baby to sleep, or am I going to stay up and work on my business? So you have to sometimes make these challenging decisions that can be really, really stressful at the end of the day. So, those are some of the most common stressors to look out for. And when you're thinking about how can I improve my health, or why am I feeling so burnt out or tired, start with looking at those areas first that you have to kind of keep on track in alignment with your business and being an entrepreneur as well.
Yes, that was a great segue into our mental health awareness. As Keisha stated, she is getting her PhD in this. So, who else to listen to? I just like she
Right.
is getting her PhD in this. Um, she is a new mother.
Yes.
With her having that extra thing on her plate, when she's mentioned having the crying baby, in the other room. She has
Yeah.
personal experience with that and being able to navigate that as well. So I just want you to see that she's not speaking about anything that she isn't implementing herself and that she's not, doing herself. She's actually practicing what she's preaching. Okay.
Yes. And even all those categories, I spoke about them because they are very personal to me. So, like
Mm-hmm.
education, I'm in school, working. I have a 9 to 5 job. Well, it's 4 p.m. to midnight, but I'm a 988 crisis counselor for the suicide hotline. And that in itself is just a stressful job. So, imagine doing that, being a new mom, getting a PhD, having a podcast, trying to run my own business. It's a lot. And even the illnesses, I'm not going to go too deep into it, but I have ADHD, and a lot of people may not take it as an illness, but that is a chronic disorder that's going to be lifelong that I have to deal with. And it comes with different things. Like sometimes it's forgetfulness, or sometimes it's not being able to pay attention and focus on one thing. So it's really hard to also run a business and not be stressed out while trying to pay attention to 10 different things at once. So,
Yes.
again, we are not telling you things that are not true for us, but we know it's to be true for other people as well.
Yes. And that led us to did you already address the stress and signs and burnout? You already.
No, so I didn't really touch on that yet, but like I said, if you don't manage your stress levels, it can lead to burnout. But I think it's important to kind of differentiate. How do you know if it's just normal stress? Because we all go through stress and experience it. And how do you know if it's a sign of burnout? So I think it's kind of very important, actually, not even kind of very important to think about different facets and knowing whether or not I'm about to hit burnout. So the first facet is duration. So if you have been stressed out for months and months and months without any relief, without any, kind of minimizing of the stress, you could be potentially experiencing burnout because normal stress is temporary. Like for me, I know I get stressed around finals or when I have a big test coming up, or, when my baby just had a bad day and he's really fussy that day. But if it's like weeks and weeks and months, that is not a normal part of stress. So if you've been stressed out for months or weeks upon a time and it's been no relief and no minimization in the stress, seek support. Seek support, get some help. You might be experiencing burnout. The second facet is intensity. So, stress causes you some tension, maybe even sometimes like a little bit of a headache or feeling tired or sleepy. But burnout is like complete exhaustion. You don't even want to think. You don't even want to get up out the bed. You are very detached. You don't want to hang out with nobody. You don't want to exert any extra energy. And so it's really important to make sure that you're checking the intensity. And that's why I say do a 1 through 5. It could be real quick. I get up, I'm like, how am I feeling today? I'm at a 3. Okay, cool. By the end of the day, okay, I'm at a 4 now. I feel a little bit better. You have to keep constantly checking in to see, okay, I've been at a 5 for like, I mean, no, not a 5. That's good. I've been at a 1 for like weeks and weeks or days and days, and that's not normal for you. So you want to check that intensity to see how bad am I feeling right now or how stressed am I feeling. Next, the third facet is impact. So stress can cause you to kind of maybe be shaken up for a little bit, but burnout is very significant and it can impact your work, your relationships, and your health. So, I actually had a little bit of a burnout recently, and I didn't eat for like 3 days, and I was just like so tired, so exhausted, but it kind of made sense. And if I wasn't doing those check ins with myself, I wouldn't have known. But I'm like, wow, I haven't ate in like 3 days. You know what? I did just have finals. I did just have to move. I did just have, switching jobs. I had a new contract for my graduate assistantship. So I had to really check in and say, okay, what do I need? Okay, maybe I need to hang out with my friends and we can all just eat I just got like a big bucket of barbecue and we just ate that together. And that was like my first meal in 3 days. And I felt way better, but I knew what I needed in that moment to be able to reduce my stress. So think about, is my work being impacted? If you normally an A and B student and you didn't got 3, 4 D's in a row, you might be a little burnt out. You might need to check in with yourself or even go talk to your professors. Do what you need to do to kind of de-escalate.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth facet is response to rest. So stress, after you relax and do some self-care for a little bit, maybe a day or two or even some hours, you should feel less stressed and decompressed. But with burnout, even no matter how long you rest, it always feel like it's not enough until you've done the work to where you might have to literally rest for like a week or two. And sometimes you might have to take off work, use your PTO, and just literally detach from the things that's stressing you out. So if your body isn't responding to rest, that's a sign for you to know, okay, I need to do extra, extra, extra self care to make sure my wellness is at a good place. And then lastly, the fifth facet is fulfillment. So stress can challenge you temporarily, but burnout, it involves a loss of purpose and motivation. So if you're just feeling stuck, you don't know what to do in your business, you don't even know why you started the business no more. You're not even connecting with the things that are in alignment with your values and your purpose. And you just feel super unmotivated. You don't want to get up and promote yourself, and you don't want to, you know, hop on live or just do things that you would normally do for your business, then you're not being fulfilled. And that's normally not just regular stress. That's probably being burnt out from going so hard doing it. So, just to reiterate and kind of sum it up, those 5 facets you need to know to differentiate between normal stress and burnout: duration, intensity, impact, response to rest, and fulfillment. So if you keep those 5 in mind, you'll know whether or not you're reaching the point of burnout.
Yes. All right. We are going to go ahead and talk about addressing feelings of isolation and loneliness. Again, my name is Nick Lavon. I do have a 9 to 5. I am an academic advisor for a university. And I can talk about addressing feelings of isolation and loneliness and giving examples of how maybe you can experience that as an entrepreneur. When you are entrepreneur, when you're first starting out, it may be just you. You
Mhm.
wearing all the hats in the business. You don't really have a team. You may not have the funds to hire somebody, and you may have to do it on your own, unless of course you have a partnership or you have other people within the business with you. And that's what we're going to talk about. How do you combat feelings of isolation as an entrepreneur? One thing you can do is join community. There are plenty of organizations. If you live in Atlanta, we have organizations like the Gathering Spot and the Rice Center, where they are filled with entrepreneurs. You may be able to also look on online communities where there are entrepreneurs. If you're first starting out, maybe you need business coaching and you want to connect with a business coach or someone who already been what you've been through, what you have are going through, and then you speak with them. Maybe you can join the community with other entrepreneurs who are starting out like you. Those are some tips that you can do.
Mhm.
Also, going to different events, going out. There are different conferences about entrepreneurship. For instance, if you are a podcaster like 20 Minutes or Less, David Shands has a conference in July. This is not an ad. They're not sponsoring us.
I wish that would.
But David Shands does have a podcast summit in July, where a whole bunch of podcasters are coming together and to learn like the different things that they're going to be implementing as far as equipment, how to get sponsorships, how to gain your followers and things like that. This is not an ad. I'm also a part personally. I'm a part of Forbes Black. They are about to have a conference in June here in Atlanta. If you are here in Atlanta, all you have to do is go online and look up conferences coming up, conferences near me, and you can find different conferences to be a part of. Let's see. What role does building a support network play in maintaining your mental well-being? Well, when you're an entrepreneur and you first starting out, or even been in the game for a long period of time, you can feel like you're failing when in actuality you're not failing,
Right.
because it's kind of like, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this wrong? And then when you go around other entrepreneurs and you see that there are ebbs and flows within entrepreneurship, you will realize that, oh, I'm not failing. This is just the ebbs and flows of business. Every business go through this. Every business is experiencing this right now. And it gives you a peace of mind to know that, hey, I'm not actually failing. I'm actually on track.
Yeah.
And then you also can see that other entrepreneurs are there to support you and help you and even possibly mentor you. That can also play a big role with your mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know we talk about social media. Yes, social media has its downfalls, but social media also has its uplifting moments where you can get on social media and see different things. Like, again, if you are starting out, you don't have the funds, people give free webinars, people go live and give out free tips and things that you can use and implement into your business. Social media is good for that. Social media is also good for networking as well. Just following other people who are doing the same thing as you, to seeing how they started versus where they are now. They can
Mm-hmm.
also help with your mental health. I know people say social media is bad for comparison. You don't really have to compare like where you are towards other entrepreneurs. You can just look at them as, okay, this is where they started, this is where they are now. How can I implement some of the strategies that they have used without copying them? Because you always want to be unique in your own industry. What is going to set you apart from what they are doing, but also being able to implement strategies that help you, that are, help you gain the funding, gain the following, and things of that nature. Okay.
Period. Hey, look at us getting our work life balance on. Okay. Yes. I definitely agree that it's important to see what other people are doing, but not copy them. But I have followed a lot of people on social media, and I'm like, I really like they page, they aesthetic. Specifically, one thing that I am big on, like seeing other people now, is like, I don't know if you've seen it, but like the luxury pages, like Jackie Aina, she have like a page just about like lifestyle and luxury and just like black girl luxury. I'm really into those pages right now because they help me to elevate my self-care. So it's one thing to do your self-care, but then you got to keep leveling up and figuring out how can I evolve my self-care regimen as I evolve as a person. And so it's not even necessarily just about spending more money. That could be one thing. Like, if as you make more money, sometimes your self-care might get a little more costly, and that's okay if you can afford it, as long as it's not doing any harm to you or your finances. But even just stuff like ironing sheets and just, treating your life like everything about you is just so important to you. Like I think seeing other people do that makes me want to do that. Like it's one lady I follow on Threads. I know people like really don't use Threads like that, but I actually have been using Threads. Um it's kind of like a hidden gems type of site, but it's literally one lady on there. She just tweet out like, this is a luxury item, this is the luxury item, this is the luxury item, and she'd have like different parts. So like luxury list part 18, and it's just like 10 different items, and it's like little stuff you might not think of as luxury. She like, if you valet your car today, that's luxury. If you got purse holders that you put on like the table at the restaurant, that's luxury. So it's little stuff that I see from watching other people that I'm like, oh, I can add that to my regimen too.
And speaking of which, you want to also talk about supporting other entrepreneurs. For instance, we speak about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Other entrepreneurs may be implementing one of those services. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, if I go to a conference and one of the members of the conference is an entrepreneur, but they do massages, they own a spa. Not only am I connecting with an entrepreneur who is also on that journey, but I could also support them while maintaining my wellness
Mm-hmm.
as well. So it's kind of like, okay, one, we are a community. That's how you should look at it.
Yeah.
Other entrepreneurs shouldn't be seen as competition. They should be seen as a community that each person offers a service or a product that can assist with the community as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
You just got to find your space within that community because it's a network again when we working together. And then how can you be of service? If they are giving a service, is the service monetary? Is the service, oh, I have knowledge that
Mm-hmm.
you may not have, that you don't have, but I may have knowledge that I can give to you? Is it volunteering? If I meet an entrepreneur who has a nonprofit
Mm-hmm.
and they say, hey, would you come and volunteer? Could you, as a podcast host, come and speak to my young girls to give them information on how to start a podcast, how to become an entrepreneur, how to juggle life and have that work-life balance? That can be of service. So when you are out in the community meeting other entrepreneurs, you're not just thinking about what can I get from them, but what can I give as well. And where
Mm-hmm.
it's a give and take type of situation. And you're both benefiting from each other, and it's just not a one-sided situation. That can help with your mental health as well, because you have a community and a support system to assist you. I know I can call this person if I need this. They can call me if they need that, and so forth. And that's
It's a
how
give
you
and
can also
take.
not feel isolated.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are introverts. For them, isolation doesn't feel like loneliness because introverts get charged by being alone. So that
Mm-hmm.
goes back to self-awareness. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? Or are you in between?
Mm-hmm.
Which one are you? And based on that, that's how you can combat that feeling of isolation and loneliness. But whether
Mm-hmm.
you're introvert or not, community is still important to be around others, just so you can learn from each other and
Mm-hmm.
connect with each other and give services and benefit from one another. Okay.
Yes, I'm glad you said that too, because For some people, they look at loneliness or isolation
Mhm.
as a bad thing, but some people look at it as like a good thing, not necessarily loneliness, but isolation. So I'm glad you mentioned that because it really, everything that anybody, any advice or tips or whatever you can give, it's not going to fit everybody. It might fit 85%, 90%, but everybody is different. So the
Mhm.
one thing that worked for 99 people might not work for one person. So some people like to be alone, and you have to figure out at that point, how can I do it in a healthy way to where I'm not
Mhm.
starting to feel lonely.
Yes, absolutely. Now we're going to segue into practical holistic wellness tips for entrepreneurs. And we want to talk about the importance of holistic wellness in business success. The first thing we're going to talk about is how to maintain mental well-being. We discussed this about your self-care practices, reducing your stress and prevent burnout, enabling entrepreneurs to stay focused and resilient. I think you did pretty good on touching on that topic. We're
Yes.
gonna move on to boost productivity. Okay, we want to boost productivity. This is one of the reasons why we're giving away a passion planner or multiple passion planners.
Hmm.
Boosting your productivity can look like planning out what you're going to do on a day-to-day basis,
Hmm.
making sure you have that time management in order. Some people like to plan based on the morning, what they're gonna do at work, and then what they're gonna do at night. Some people like to plan hourly. Some people
Hmm.
like to plan based on personal versus work. It just depends on you. You have to figure out what is going to work for you. Some people like to exercise in the morning. Some people like to exercise at night. Some people
Hmm.
like to exercise during their lunch break. What is going to work for you? And one thing you can do is write down a list of things that you enjoy that will fuel you to help you be productive. Is that getting up in the morning and listen to something motivational? Is that journaling? Is that praying? Is that reading your Bible? What is that? What are you going to do to fill your cup first before
Hmm.
you pour out to others on when you leave your house? So you want to think about, okay, how can I fill my cup before I leave the house? So when I leave the house, I'm not pouring from a deficit. So that's
Hmm.
what you want to think about as well. They can also help with your creativity and decision making. If I have taken the time out to do what helps me in the morning, I can be a better productive person. I can create, I can make better decisions. I can do do all the things that need to be done. But if I don't fill my cup first and I go out and trying to help somebody else, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Okay. You want to sustain your energy levels. Sustaining your energy levels can look like exercising, being around other people. Some people, if you're an extrovert, if you need to be around community, that can help boost your energy level. What you eat can help boost your energy level. Everybody's different as well. Are you the type of person who is plant based? Are you a vegetarian? Do you eat meat? Do you have a Mediterranean diet? What works for you in your body may not work for someone else in their body. You just have to figure out what works for you. And of course, get professional. You want to reach out to a nutritionist, you can do that. If you want to reach out to someone who is an expert when it comes to physical wellness, you can do that as well to figure out what works for you. Okay. Promoting work life balance, you can do that. They may look like setting boundaries, not only if you do still work a 9 to 5, but if you own your own business. When you own your own business, you're the only person doing it, or you may have other people doing it. It can end up becoming a 24-hour work day
Hmm.
versus just an 8-hour work day. When you have a 9 to 5, you have a start and then you have an ending. When you are an entrepreneur, if you don't set those necessary boundaries within your own operations, you could be working 12 hours a
Mm-hmm.
day or more.
Right.
You want to think about that. What are our office hours? When
Mm-hmm.
are we not going to be, speaking to other people? When are we not going to be answering emails? When is that cutoff? And then communicating that with the people who you are servicing. Inspires innovation. You want to engage in self-care activities to stimulate creativity. Again, what inspires you? What motivates you?
Mm-hmm.
That could look like anything. For me, creating inspires me. Listen to podcasts inspires me. Just sitting down in silence can inspire me. When
Mm-hmm.
everything is off and I'm just sitting down thinking, that inspires me. Uh Shoot, I could be in the shower and ideas come to my mind. If your inspiration, you have to ask yourself, do I get my motivation from outside or inside as well? That goes back to knowing yourself. Do you have to seek outside validation for inspiration, or can that inspiration come from within you? Because there may be times where maybe the outside people not mess with you right now, and but at the end of the day, it's kind of like, okay, the people who inspired me, they're not doing it for me right now. How can I inspire myself in this moment? Where is my source? And that can go back to the eight dimensions of wellness. Maybe your source is God. Maybe your source is
Mm-hmm.
spirit. To where I don't care who is for me or against me, as long as God is for me, who cares? And you
Right.
need to tap into your spirituality and get your inspiration from there. Because there may be times, how many times we done seen people, celebrities, 1 minute they up, and then something happens, and then it seems like the whole world against them. What
Mm-hmm.
happens to that person's mental health when they feel like the whole world is against them and they seeking outside validation? Sometimes your validation and inspiration can come from outside. Sometimes it has to
Mm-hmm.
come from somewhere else. And for
Yeah.
me, that's God. For me, that comes from within. Baby, you ain't gotta support me. You don't have to like me. Because as long as God like me and is for me, that's all that matters. And that's the attitude you have to have, especially if you want to be successful in this business. Because the ebbs and flows is real. This social
Mm-hmm.
media game is real. Somebody like you today and not like you tomorrow. But at the end of the day, as long as you like yourself, and as long as God is by your side, that's all that matters.
Yes. He is preaching today.
Yeah, and that's on it.
Yes. I feel like she said that perfectly. I think all of that is very valuable to think about when it comes to why is wellness so important and why is not just wellness but holistic wellness. She talked about faith. She talked about physical health, mental health, emotional health, social health. Everything is tied together. So,
Mhm.
I kind of want to get into now some more practical tips to make sure that self care remains a priority, even when you have a really busy schedule, right? Because I feel like we telling y'all a lot of stuff, but you're like, okay, I'm busy. How do I get this? How do I incorporate this in my routine? Where do I
Mhm.
even start? So I'm going to give you 8 practical tips on how to make sure self care and holistic wellness remains a priority while you're running your business. So, tip one, you need to schedule your self care. So for me, my self care has a whole different color on my calendar as opposed to everything else is yellow. It's very bright. I'm going to see it. I'm going to look forward to it. And I'm
Mhm.
going to make sure that it's reoccurring. So I know if I typically get my nails done every 2 weeks, you can go in on your calendar and put, okay, every Saturday, every other week. And now you know. So even if you have to move that, you like, oh, it's say I'm getting my nails done this Saturday. I'm actually not. My nails still look okay. I probably could go until next Saturday. Now you just drag it and move it to the next week.
Mhm.
Simple. Now you never forget about it. It's never off your radar. It's just scheduled out. You can do that with anything, massages, quiet time, spending time with friends. Everything I do with my friends, when we say we doing something, we going to brunch. It's on the calendar. Are we going to a concert? It's on the calendar. Me and my friends actually have a shared note with all the different like festivals in Chicago over the summer, and everybody highlighted which one they want to go to. And we kind of keep a calendar of things to look forward to when it comes to self-care. So schedule your self-care. Second tip, set boundaries. Nakia kind of touched on this, so I'm not going to go too deep within whatever she already said. But you have to have that time for work and a time for play, a time for business and a time for school, a time for family, a time for social. Um, I don't want to get too deep into the Bible, but God said it's a time for everything and a season for every occasion under the sun. So you need to make sure that your time is always focused on what's important. And it's not going to always be work, it's not going to always be your business. It has to be for your mental health, for your emotional health, your social health. Go hang out with your friends. You haven't seen them in weeks or months. Why?
Mhm.
You can schedule a virtual date like this. Like, girl, let's you bring your snacks and your face mask. I bring my snacks and my eye mask, and we gonna do some self care and catch up and talk virtually. So, next, number three, delegate tasks. In your business, even when you don't have someone that's like a full time employee that's working for you still need to understand, okay, I can get on Fiverr and get somebody just to do a few things. Or ask your friends, ask your family, ask your support system, ask whoever in your village. This is something that was not always easy for me, but I'm getting more comfortable with doing it. Like if I don't have the wherewithal to do something, I'm asking for help. Hey, can you get on Canva and make an invite to my birthday dinner? I don't feel like it. Like, of course, all your friends might not be graphic designers or whatever, but just ask for help if you need help. Um, if it doesn't have to be just with your business either. Sometimes it's personal. I have my days where I'm like, my son is fussy, I'm tired. Can you watch your nephew? I'm texting my sister, like, can you watch him? I don't even want to do nothing. I just want to sleep and just relax and not have to deal with him, and she'd be cool with it. So like just delegate those tasks, whether it's childcare, uh, business task, whatever it is. Practice time management. Nakia also kind of touched on this one too. But time management, honestly, I want to go out on a limb, and I don't know if anybody has said this before. Time management is a lifestyle. It's not something you can do sometimes, and it's something you have to consistently do for the rest of your life to get the results that you want to get. It's not something you could be really on it at the beginning of y'all remember in school at the beginning of the year, you using your planner, you writing all your homework down, and somehow by the end of the semester you're not writing stuff down no more, but you all over the place, your head not in focus. It's hard for you to study and do it because you lost your time management. You didn't make it a lifestyle. It was something temporary that was cool when everything was all crispy and clean. And at the end of the semester when your planner start getting a little crusty and the edges folding up, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want that. You want to make sure it's the lifestyle for you. It's something that's consistently happening. And use different techniques. I don't know if y'all heard of the Pomodoro method, but it's pretty much where if you have an hour, you like, okay, I'm gonna be productive for 45 minutes and then I'm gonna rest for 15 minutes. Or using the Eisenhower matrix where you're scheduling stuff based on, is this urgent? Meaning I need to do it right now. Is it important? meaning it needs to get done and I don't need to do it right now? Or is it not important and I'm just going to take it off altogether? Or is it just a little important, but I don't need to be the one to do it and you delegate it? So you have to think about what's going to work for your time management needs and lifestyle. Fifth tip, start small. And I know it sounds cliche, but literally, even if you're not scheduling all your self-care activities, schedule the big ones. You know you get your lashes done every month by the same girl. She do your refill after 2 weeks, whatever it is. Put it on your calendar so it just becomes more official. You know you get your nails done every 2 weeks. Put it on your calendar. You know you take a nice bubble bath every Friday because you get off early on Fridays and you don't like to do it Monday through Thursday. You like to just take a shower because you got work early the next day. Put it on your calendar every Friday, bubble bath. Why not? So start small. Don't feel like you have to put everything all on your calendar or just be good at everything at once. It takes time. Tip six, accountability partners. Get you a friend, get you a mentor, get you a support person that's going to hold you accountable. And not those friends that don't remind you about stuff when you ask them to. Not those friends that's going to forget to. Not those friends that's not going to hold you accountable and be like, just be easy on yourself. That's cool sometimes, but you need those friends that's going to be like, you haven't did this, this, and this, and you said you was going to do it 2 weeks ago, girl. What's the update? And it's not gonna always be fun, but you need somebody to not always have fun with you and to be serious and crack down. And same goes with your self care and your wellness. Girl, you said you was gonna take yourself out to Red Robin's a month ago. Did you ever go? Did you? Do you need to schedule something this week? Do you want me to go with you? We could go together and just relax and vibe. Get you an accountability partner. Tip seven, flexibility. So this one is really important because sometimes when you hear like schedule stuff, you be like, well, I don't want to schedule it because things might change and da 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 da. It's okay if it changes as long as you're being flexible with yourself and being compassionate. That's all that matters. Be flexible. If something can't happen that day, think about when is the next day it can happen. Move it on your schedule, move it in your head, whatever you need to do, but just be flexible because when you're too rigid, it take it off of wellness and it turns it into distress. We don't we don't want that. Okay, the last tip eight, is to reflect and adjust. So you need to be regularly thinking about how your wellness habits need to adjust. If you've been going to the dentist once a year, but every time you go, it's some new stuff wrong with your teeth, maybe you need to go every 6 months. If you trying every 6 months and that's still enough, maybe you need to go every quarter, every 3 months. You know, you have to reflect and adjust and think about, okay, well, how can I make sure that I'm taking care of my wellness in the best way for me? And sometimes it needs to adjust as your lifestyle adjusts. For me, I have to really plan self care out now because I have a kid. So I have to find a babysitter to even do self care. So I have to think about, okay, how can I do this better? Okay, if my best friend, I wanted her to watch him, she only free half the day, but I wanted to do a full day worth of stuff. Okay, man, how can I reflect and do better next time? Oh, maybe I should ask earlier, or maybe I should get a second friend to pick my kid up halfway through the day when my friend has to go do their task. I just have to think about stuff and reflect and adjust and make updates to see what's gonna be best for me. And if you a parent, what's gonna be best for you, what's best for your kid. If you a caretaker, oh, what's best for my great great granny that I take care of and me. If you got a spouse, what's best for my husband or my wife and me. You have to just constantly reflect and adjust, especially as those changes happen in life. And I feel like it can be a lot of stigma around mental health and wellness, especially in the Black community. So I want to just kind of touch on that next and talk about, seeking professional help and resources and breaking that stigma around doing so. And so first I want to kind of jump into like why is it this stigma around entrepreneurship and mental health in the community? And it's a few things, but one of them is hustle culture. I know
Mhm.
I have been a victim of it where I'm just going and going and going and neglecting my self care, and it never turns out good. It always ends up in burnout. So we have to move away from this hustle culture and stop glamorizing these long hours of work and high stress and 17 different jobs and whatever. It's good to have multiple streams of income, but not necessarily multiple jobs, you know? So you have to think smarter and not harder when it comes to generating wealth and generating revenue and generating income for yourself and your business. The second thing is the fear of failure. So if you know that you are new to entrepreneurship, you might be the first entrepreneur in your family. It can be a lot of pressure to succeed and to do good. And I don't remember the exact stat, Nikia, maybe you know, but it's like a overwhelming stat of like I think like 90% of businesses fail in the first 5 years or something, or like the first 2 years.
Mhm.
So you already competing against that statistic where you trying to just at least make it. So you have to make sure that you know that fear of failure is something that you work through so that you don't feel so boxed in to where you just feel like you can't make no mistakes, because the beauty is in the process of learning and failing and getting back up again. Next, one thing I think that contributes to the stigma too is the perception of self-reliance. So everybody always talking about being independent and bootstrapping and doing it on their own and not getting support. And that can really deter you from getting mental health support, you know, with you being an entrepreneur, you being a whatever all your other hats is and your other roles are. So it's really important to understand you can be independent without having to work through your own mental health issues alone. You know, it's free therapy out there, it's support groups. Nakia kind of talked about that, but it doesn't have to be your traditional quote unquote therapy that you use to have community and have support for your mental health needs. Another thing that's really big, social comparison. So entrepreneurship can feel really competitive, especially right now. And it can have people feeling like, well, I don't want to talk about my mental health challenges because that's gonna show a sign of weakness, and I need to look strong and be competitive in this market. No, I feel like you get more value when you're showing your vulnerabilities to your customers because they gonna relate to them and they gonna understand like you're a person and not a robot. And then the last thing is just lack of awareness. So many entrepreneurs have like misconceptions about mental health, and as again, especially in the Black community, and
Mhm.
it can really impede us from getting help because we feel like, well, I don't know enough about it. Like, I don't know how to get therapy, or I don't know how to use my insurance. I
Mhm.
know so many people that have insurance but don't use it because they just feel like, oh, you still gonna have to pay money. Like, okay, do you want to pay a copay and get you some help, feel good? Or do you want to be paying for this insurance? It's coming out your check each month and you're not even using it. That's pretty much wasting your resources. So try to break through the stigma. And that's why we do talks like this and lives like this, so people can understand that what you may be thinking about mental health is what a million other people are thinking. But it's important to know how to combat that with breaking through and seeking that help and finding your support system and accountability partners. So
Yes. Speaking of breaking stigma, one thing that the 21 Minutes or Less podcast want to do to help break that stigma is educate. We want to educate our audience or anybody who come across our platform by offering workshops and online resources to help with not only your mental health but your overall holistic wellness. As we mentioned, we want to focus on the 8 dimensions of wellness and how you can benefit from each and being able to utilize those not on a day-to-day basis because it's almost impossible to try to fit all that into one day, but how you can utilize them within the week. Okay. And we want to also normalize dialogue. That's what the podcast is about. Us speaking to other entrepreneurs about their holistic wellness and how not only they take care of themselves and each other within the community, um, by speaking about that, again, you can go to our YouTube or Spotify and everywhere else that we are located to listen to our podcast. Okay. We also want to provide resources. That is why we are going to start doing event sessions along with other things that we do have planned. We don't want to speak about them prematurely, but we do want to emphasize that we do want to offer event sessions um, at least once, I guess once a month, maybe. I don't know. For the first 21 people who sign up for it, we can, divide and conquer those. Keysha can get some, I can get the other. Or if you have a preference of who you would like to speak with, you can, shoot us a DM or email us and we will reach out to you. Also, lead by example. As Keysha mentioned, all the things that she's doing with motherhood and things of that nature. Next week, actually, we're going to go live again, and I'm going to interview Keysha about her mental health and how she's able to balance her mental health as a mental health expert. Sometimes when you go to these doctor offices and you seek therapy, it's usually you talking. You just talking to them, and they listening, providing you resources, and providing you feedback. But with Keysha speaking about her, you get to hear from a mental health expert how they are implementing the things that they are actually helping others with within their own lives. Okay. Collaborate and partner. Again, we kind of already do that, but hopefully in the future we'll be able to collaborate and partner with other mental health professionals who may want to come in and do workshops, who may want to come in and do different mental health care activities, who may want to come in and go live with us and talk about the different mental health approaches and things of that nature. So yeah, that's what we plan on doing to help break that stigma of mental health and to talk about holistic wellness and how as an entrepreneur you don't have to feel alone. You don't have to feel like you're failing, even though that doubt or fear may creep in. It's a liar. Don't believe it. Dude, it's not of God. Fear, doubt, and all that is not of God. Do not believe it. Um, Even when other people may try to instill fear and doubt in you, you have to
Mm-hmm.
be confident and know within yourself that hey, this is not real. And here are some strategies that these women and other professionals can help me implement to combat this feeling and what I'm feeling in this moment. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for touching on that. And I can't wait to next week. I think that's a good point that you made. Like people want to hear the real about what are you doing as a mental health professional. And a lot of times they teach us not to self-disclose. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that'd be really, really good for them to see us. And also, I do want to acknowledge that we are almost at the hour point. And it told us before we got on here, Instagram only gonna be up for an hour, so we may lose our Instagram audience, but we do have a watcher on there now. So I want to give like a quick little shout out to the people who joined on Instagram. We had two people, one named A. Laura Smith. So thank you
Okay.
for tuning in. And then R Ministry 82. So at the end on y'all, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And I think that since y'all joined, both of y'all should just automatically get qualified for a vet session because we appreciate y'all so much. And I can like DM y'all at the end since I have y'all names to like give you more information about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a picture of their names. But yes,
Yes, you can also go to our YouTube or our Facebook if you want to continue to listen to what we were saying. Okay.
yes. Okay, so back to the topic at hand. So just kind of going into specifically about therapy and counseling, because that's something that you talked about. I think it's important to discuss the benefits of it really briefly, because sometimes people think like, oh, why am I pay for a therapist? I could just talk to my friends. And while venting and talking to your friends is very important and a great way to help your mental health, therapy has more targeted interventions. First of all, it's unbiased. Your friends gonna be biased, even if they trying to play devil's advocate. They still have inside knowledge of you, how you act, your behaviors, all that,
Mm-hmm.
because they're your friend at the end of the day. So going to somebody that's unbiased can be really useful, because they don't really know you until, of course, y'all start meeting for a while, and they only know you in a sense of what you are relaying to them. So it's good to have that unbiased opinion, because that you not paying them to be your friend or just to be on your side. You paying them to get the real insight that they think and how they feel like you can improve.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also are trained. Your friends are, no matter how, even if they are unbiased, they are not trained in mental health support, because if they were, they would have a degree. And if they don't have a degree, a certificate, whatever it may be, then they don't understand how to help you and support you and guide you
Mm-hmm.
to get into that healing. Now, again, they could be a listening ear, a good shoulder to cry on. But when it comes to like healing trauma and learning how to set boundaries, things like that, they don't understand the techniques needed to help you get to the insight. Because a lot of people think therapy is giving advice. A lot of people think therapy is pretty much telling you the answers, but it's really more of a helping other people to get to the answers themselves, not so much just telling people stuff. So your friend's gonna be like, you can do this and you can do that. And sometimes in therapy, you may brainstorm and think about things and come up with ideas with your therapist. But overall, that's not the goal. The goal is to be able to get you to see how you can help yourself and really empowering you to do so. And then the last thing is that therapy, again, a lot of people think it's just venting and doing that for 60 minutes every week or every 2 weeks, but it is an actual treatment plan used in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's designed to help you with your goals that you have for your mental health or personal life, professional life. And so it's really important, again, to see a therapist, because they're going to have a specific plan just for you. It's going to look different for every single client, that's going to guide you through a series of steps and how you can help yourself, versus a friend or family member. They don't have a treatment plan, they just winging it. So those are some benefits of therapy and why you should try therapy. And it's going to be a trial and error process. Sometimes you might have to go through a few therapists to find the one that's going to be good for you, but just stick through the process and you will start to reap those benefits eventually.
Yes, I love that. All right, we're gonna go ahead and share some resources for finding mental health support. There are a lot of free resources out there. Keisha mentioned being able to utilize, if you have benefits, your benefits, you can utilize that. If you still work a 9 to 5 while you are starting your business or still doing your business, a lot of people out there doing that. Use your benefits. They also have hotlines you can call
Mhm.
to that is completely free, because you always know when you have a job, especially if you start a new job, those benefits don't kick in until after so many days. You like, okay, what I'm gonna do in the meantime, what am I gonna do? Look for your local community free resources. Look online for free resources. Connect. If you are in school, you have free resources all around you. I always tell students, you're not going to get this many free resources at one time, at
Me
any other
too.
time in your life. You better utilize every resource you have while you on campus, because you're not going to ever receive that many free benefits. Well, it's not technically, it's not free because you're paying tuition, but
Mhm.
to not utilize those resources while you are on campus. Come on now. Let's go ahead and do that. And
And just
then
to add to that really, really quick, sorry, Nakia, but I was
mhm,
just gonna say you don't even have to go to the school sometimes to utilize
mhm,
the resources. Like for instance, if you're specifically looking for mental health support, a lot of the counseling, not counseling centers, but if a school has a clinic, like a psychological services center or like a psychology clinic where they
mhm,
have like either a doctoral program or like a graduate program for psych students, they probably do have a clinic then. You can go there and get cheap therapy. Like I know at my school, we accept people from the community. We are more focused on school psych. So I think it does cut off at like 18, but you might need services for your kids or whatever it may be.
yes.
So, for instance, I know like us, if we see you in our clinic, is the most we'll charge you is $30 per session.
Mhm.
Again, that still could be a lot for some people. So we also have a sliding fee scale. So it depends on your income. So the most you'll pay is $30, but I've seen people pay like $3 or $5 for a session. And again, you don't even have to go there to get that. We
Yeah.
accept people from the community. So like if you have a college in your town, see if they have a clinic and you could get low cost therapy there because they
I'm
need
yeah.
clients to train their students.
I'm glad you mentioned that because even if they have a counseling center, if you go to the counseling center website, they have free resources posted on their
Mhm.
webpage. Again, you don't have to attend the university. You can just utilize those resources that they have listed. They also have mindfulness apps, Calm,
Mhm.
Headspace,
Bloom.
popping up every day now because technology is expanding. But then you also have Class Pass for if you want to do spa treatments, if you want to exercise, if you want to do Pilates, if you want to do kickboxing. They have you pay a flat fee and then you utilize however many points or anything you have to go along with that Class Pass. Okay. All right. That's how you can access those resources. Resources are all around you. You can go online, you can go in person, you can use an app. They're there. Okay. All right. That leads us to our Q&A. Does anybody have any questions? And even if you look at the replay, if you have questions, you just put them in the comment, whether you were on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. Those questions help us determine the needs of the community. So if you were not on the live and you still have a question, you can post those questions in the comment section or DM us. Okay.
Or tweet us at 21 mins or less on Twitter. Okay, so until we get any questions that may come through, um, we can go ahead and kind of just start wrapping up. I think the biggest takeaways from this, honestly, for me, is just prioritize mental health, and it's gonna help you with your business. You're gonna
Yeah.
be more creative. You're gonna be less likely to experience burnout. You're gonna be able to have more social support and to be able to kind of talk through things with a therapist or whether it's people in your peer support networks or other
Yeah.
entrepreneurs that can relate to you.
Yes. Also, be mindful of who you surround yourself with as well.
Hmm.
Do the person you surround yourself with have your best interest at heart, or they be throwing shade or undermining things like that? Is the people around you toxic? Is the people around you?
Messy,
Yes,
gossipy,
yes.
weird.
It can also play on your mental health as well. Be mindful of that because when we talk about social wellness, that also plays apart. You don't want negativity around you as well, especially when you're trying to birth something. When you're trying to birth something, you don't want that around you. You don't want nobody smiling in your face. Then when you away, they saying and doing the opposite. So be mindful of the people you also have around you, because that can make or break your mental health or your business. So be mindful as that as well when you're thinking about social wellness and how it relates to your mental wellness and your mental health. All right.
So, yes, thank y'all for joining us. I feel like this was very informative, and next week is going to be great because we kind of taken a lot of the things that we discussed here. And again, Nakia is going to interview me, so we're going to be able to talk to you about some personal um
Yes.
tips that I have, tips and tricks, and just to be able to kind of go inside my head as a mental health professional to see what am I doing, what can you borrow and take and make your own.
All right. Thank you for listening to the 21 Minutes or Less podcast, mental health awareness segment, and we will see you next week.
Yes. And don't forget to prioritize your mental health and go follow us on all platforms. On YouTube, you could just type in 21 Minutes or Less podcast. On Facebook and Instagram at 21 Minutes or Less. On Twitter at 21 Men's or Less. And yeah, we will see y'all in the next week.